you as always.
Okay. All right. So Dan, go ahead.
This is Live from the Table, the official podcast of the world-famous Comedy Cellar, where we focus on Israel, Yiddishkeit, and the Jewish world. And we have with us today
Dan.
Noam Dorman, of course, is here. He's the owner of the Comedy Cellar. And Periel Ashenbrand,
HJIC.
the head Jew in charge. That's correct. Yeah. And with us via the miracle of Zoom, Joshua Benjamin Hammer, an American conservative political commentator, attorney, and columnist, author of Israel and Civilization, The Fate of the Jewish Nation and the Destiny of the West. And he hosts the Josh Hammer Show, a Newsweek podcast and syndicated weekly radio show. So welcome, Josh Hammer, to our show.
I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
Hello, Josh. You seem pretty. I know you're pretty agitated lately, right? You've been going through it. You and Megyn been sniping at each other. Go ahead. Go say something.
No, it's not. Look,
Yeah.
this is kind of, it is what it is at this time. I mean, I've been battling for months now with a lot of these same provocateurs. I mean, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly. Kind of is what it is. But you know what? I mean, I take the arrows that are flung my way. I try to be the happiest warrior possible. And frankly, I love what I do for a living, and it's all good. All good.
Yeah, as we might tell Megyn, if you prick him, does he not bleed? Anyway, we're going to, I want to talk about Candace Owens. I also want to talk about how we got here. I was trying to think, I have a lot of video, and I was trying to think what's the best way to do it. And I thought maybe, if there's no objection, I put together like a 6-minute just kind of highlight reel of all the stuff that we're going to have to talk about. I figured we'd just play it, put it into the record, rather than awkwardly ask Steve to find it at each moment. So do you mind, can you play number 1, Steve?
Sure.
This is just like, this is some stuff Candace said, some stuff Megyn has said, some stuff they said about each other. This is the stuff that's kind of animating me. And then this will all be our common knowledge for the conversation going forward. So go ahead, Steve. Mm-hmm. Want me to press play?
Where should we begin? I'll tell you this, something is not right.
Now, I'm a busy person, and I don't have time to listen to every podcast. You know, whatever. If it's not a segment we're going to do on the show, I'm probably not going to go back and watch the whole thing. But I have seen Candace taken out of context many, many times, and you can, times that by 100 on Tucker. So, do you listen to her show? Like, do you actually know that the little clips you've seen online are not taken out of context?
Many moons ago, before they decided to establish Israel as a country, I know you've read like the short version in the classroom, and it was like, oh, the Holocaust happened, and then we realized that Israel needs a state. No, that's not how it went down. That's not how it went down at the F all, okay? Catholics and Christians were going missing on Passover, and then they would find bodies, okay, across Europe, and they were able to trace them back to Jews. Blood libel. They weren't Jews, okay? These were Frankists. He did it during Passover for a reason. This Frankist cult, which is masquerading behind Jews, still participates in this shit to this day. Like, I don't know. I'm just throwing out some ideas here. And by throwing out some ideas, I mean, I've read a ton of books and I've figured it out.
I think Candace is apart from Tucker.
I don't know her. I don't really know her that well. Although I will tell you, we recently had a very nice exchange before all this. Mm-hmm. And I was just reminded in my own head that Candace is a young mom of like 3 young kids. She's under a lot of pressure. She's got a big show. She's been under attack since she came onto the public airwaves, and she's been under attack constantly. And it's my prerogative if I say to myself, that is not someone I wish to attack.
Are there people that are off limits for sort of friendly reasons, I guess, in the Tucker sense?
Well, listen, there's a reason I've never invited on Nick Fuentes. Yeah. Right? I'm like, he's an interesting guy, from what I hear, but he's not my cup of tea.
He called Ben Shapiro today filth.
He filmed himself doing a little video game where he was shooting Jews wearing the yarmulke and said the one was Ben Shapiro.
Good God.
I don't really need to see an additional video to figure out who he is. I'm good. I got it.
Yeah. We really love you, Candace, Tucker. I feel like I can truly trust you guys.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to know your opinion on what Candace is saying about the Israeli planes following Erica around.
Yeah, I only saw the headline. And while, obviously, I know that Candace makes a ton of news. I confess I don't actually get time to watch her show because I've got my own show and I've got my life and my kids. Hi.
Megyn. Love you.
Love you.
Okay.
Let me just say, I cut this up, so I did leave out something I didn't mean to. Megyn did identify that it was Egyptian planes, not Israeli planes. Just in case somebody thinks that she didn't realize that. I just cut it out to make it shorter, and now I've made it longer by explaining it. Go ahead.
How do we feel about Tucker having Nick Fuentes on his show?
You know, I asked Tucker about it, and my own belief is the reason he did it. This is not from him, but my belief is that the reason he did it was because he wanted to convey to him that it is not conservative to apply collective judgment or punishment to any group of people. Now, do I want to interview Nick? I don't. Not at all, because if you watch Nick Fuentes, you will hear a lot of really horrible things. And it's very jarring. Like, if you spend enough time listening to him, you will hear things that will make your eyelids peel back from it's like really jarring, upsetting characterizations of Jews and blacks and women. And all. The media reaction has been shocking, with reporters and pundits claiming the motive is unclear. Despite alleged shooter Tyler Robinson telling his parents there's too much evil, and he, referring to Charlie, spreads too much hate. The hour before, Caitlin Collins was telling Ted Cruz, we don't know the motive. Why don't you read your lower third? You try reading. It could help you. That's a blatant lie. It's a defamatory blaspheme, and it's inappropriate in this setting. But let's just make clear. This guy was motivated by leftist ideology. We know it from the bullet casings. We know it from the Utah governor.
The point here is that Megyn was very, very prickly about anybody suggesting alternate theories to Charlie Kirk's murder, except for the theories we're going to talk about with Josh.
Know it from his own mother. Yes, we do. Let's be really clear on that. We're just not going to allow the bastardization of Charlie's memory. We know who shot Charlie Kirk and what the motives were.
It was fine. I don't think Israel had anything to do with it, but why did I have an obligation to stop Candace from asking those questions? I didn't, and I didn't call her out because I favored her asking them.
Bibi Netanyahu is again denying that he murdered Charlie Kirk, despite the fact that no one that I know accused him of doing such a thing. Is that normal? Ben had no allegiance to Charlie Kirk when he was alive. So what is it about Charlie's widow in particular? I am sensing that he knows something about Erica Kirk. And every time he speaks, I grow more certain that Israel might be involved. So let's just actually bring this in. The Zionists started circling Charlie and trying to control things. And so the reality is that then they came inward because that's what Zionists do. The money, it was almost like they just wanted to take over the company that he had built and turn it into just another outfit of the Mossad. Like that's what it looks like. And it's going to come out. And like I said, the reason that they're doing this is because they want us to stop investigating the death of Charlie Kirk. Right. We are realizing something more sinister happened. However, nothing is hidden that will not be disclosed, or nothing concealed that will not be known or come out into the open. It feels that way right now. I really do. I believe that the devil overplayed his hand. The Charlie Kirk assassination, whatever it is, whatever truth we come to, it's going to explode, and there's going to be so many revelations about how this world really works. Principalities, rulers in dark places. Definitely starting to think in a major way that Israel's got something to do with killing Charlie Kirk. You describe yourself as a Talmudic Jew, and I've learned what's in that Talmud, and I encourage other people at home to learn what is in that Talmud so that you know what Ben thinks of you, because he doesn't just hate me, he hates you too, white men. He hates all black people, okay? If he's following the rules of the Talmud, I mean, when I say hates, they think that we're animals, that they have a right to own us, that they have a right to make us worship them, that they have a right to lie to us, that they have a right to sue us and take everything that we have, that they have a right to deceive us. I implore you to wake up to these people who believe that they are contract lords. I challenge Black Americans to wake up to your true history, because your quarrel is not with white men. Okay, wake up to who publishes these books and keeps us warring with one another. Christians versus Christians, right? Christians versus Muslims. Wake up and learn the true history of slavery, because that wasn't exactly a white men sport, okay? Jewish people were the ones that were trading us. Jewish people were in control of the slave trade.
So in any event, Candace knows I disagree with her on this. Petty internet people want to turn that into a cat fight between Candace and yours truly, which will fail. She and I actually have only gotten closer over the past couple of months as people try to make me attack her.
one of these belly creatures, sliver on.
There is a corner of the internet of people that want to point and blame the Jews for all their problems. Everybody, this is demonic and it's from the pit of hell, and it should not be tolerated, period. But it goes to a deeper, more structural problem.
All right. I think that's it, Stephen.
Hey, he didn't really get a thunderous applause on that one, Charlie.
Where's
Kirk.
Josh?
I'm here.
Oh,
He's back.
So, okay, Josh, before we get into the questions, what do you first of all, I just want to say, there's nothing I despise more than quotes taken out of context, quotes that are massaged, videos. And I do my utmost when I make these videos to be fair to the actual most proper interpretation of what people are saying. And the more I have to squeeze in, the more cuts I have to make. And I've always said, and so far nobody's dinged me. I always say, if anybody thinks that I left something out, if anybody thinks that there's something that that's on the cutting room floor that would change the meaning or the interpretation of what I've done, please let me know. If I agree, I will correct it. And even if I don't agree, I will tweet it out or something. So I am not trying to win any arguments by making unfair edits. I'm just trying to get it all out there efficiently. So, Josh, what do you think about that narrative, and what's your response to all that?
Well, it's one of those where do you even begin kind of situations. Candace Owens, the shit that comes out of her mouth. This book that she's waving around, The Talmudic Jew, was written by a bunch of Nazi sympathizers.
Well, actually, that's not right. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Race science eugenicists. Okay, the predecessors to the Nazis.
No, it was written by a guy in the 1870s named August.
Yes, it was the intellectual predecessor to Margaret Sanger and the eugenists, who themselves were intellectual predecessors to the Nazis.
August Rolling. And what's interesting about him is that he was exposed as a fraud in his own time. He was exposed by the Catholic Church and by the Emperor of Austria. So he was a discredited anti-Semite at a time when it was very difficult to be discredited as an anti-Semite. I did some research, I tweeted about it. It got like 1.5 million views already. So anybody can check that out. But go ahead.
Yeah, again, so it's difficult to know where to begin with this person. In a just society, she'd be in a mental ward right now. She would have been in a mental ward a while ago. Mm-hmm. I personally am a big proponent of bringing back the involuntary commitment laws of the 1960s. In my view, she should be involuntarily committed to a mental asylum. That's been my stance for a while, because what she is saying is so delusional and so nasty. This is the most. She's literally doing the blood libel thing. Like, she's literally doing like the 12th, 13th century bubonic plague in Europe. Jews killed the Christians, baked them in the blood for the matzah. Whatever the story was, she's literally doing that. It's unfathomable. It is utterly unfathomable that this individual has the platform that she has. By the way, that was not in your montage. She's come after me in pretty grotesque terms. She did it actually over a Jewish holiday when I was offline. This is 2.5 months ago. She accused me of having complicity and therefore foreknowledge or whatever her quote-unquote argument was in Charlie Kirk's assassination. It's almost assuredly defamatory under current American jurisprudence. She's done this to many other people as well when it comes to Inner Circle Turning Point USA staffers, right, to Erica Kirk, somewhat infamously as well.
I want to get to Megyn. I'll ask you a question. I have been infuriated for a long time, long before October 7th. Anybody who watches the show, people around me know, with the creeping acceptance of conspiracy theories on the right. And anybody who understands conspiracy theories should not be surprised to see that all roads lead to anti-Jewish conspiracies. Do you feel any culpability here in the fact that, and I don't know this, but from some light research, I believe it to be true, that you went pretty easily and pretty easy on some of the conspiracy theorists on the right. You went pretty easy on Dinesh D'Souza, who was with election denial and all.
Dinesh D'Souza has been one of the absolute lions fighting for the Jewish people. Actually.
So what? So what? Was he right about with 2,000 mules, not a piece of conspiratorial garbage?
I'm not going to comment on. That's totally not relevant to our conversation.
Of course, it's absolutely relevant. We're talking, maybe it's not. It's relevant to I see it. I see this as not about the Jews, although, of course, I'm concerned about the Jews. I see this as a total abdication of proper methods and concern for the truth in as
Okay,
as
so my
as,
telling
as, it,
of-
as, it,
my-
pertain, as it pertains to
yeah,
all
okay.
subjects.
All right, so my telling of the story goes
Not
something
going
like
to let
this.
a million people lie, and then when it says about the Jews, aha, you liar. Oh, well, you care about lies or you care about the Jews?
Right. So my telling the story is similar-ish, but looks a little different.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main reason we are here, I agree with your premise that when people lose their general mental faculties and lose their ability to distinguish right from wrong, fact from fiction, justice from injustice, morality from immorality, et cetera, there's typically one place where that unfortunate trail ends, which is the Jews. And the reason for that historically is actually quite simple, which is that the Jews are the original progenitors of objective morality, the original rejectors of idolatry and polytheism, the ones who introduced objective morality, monotheism to the world. So when you lose your ability to distinguish morality from immorality, et cetera, it should be fairly axiomatic that the Jews are going to bear the brunt of that. My telling of the story looks something like this. There have been a series of events over the past decade that I think have caused many folks to question what they are being told from elites, from the ruling class, from whatever you want to call it, from major institutions, both public and private. In my telling of the story, that begins with the 2016 election, with the Russia collusion hoax, ultimately then going to the Mueller probe that gulfed up 2.5 years of the Trump presidency. And then we had the 2020 election, which, think of what you may, but it happened in the context of COVID. There definitely was maybe it wasn't 2,000 meals, but there was definitely a lot happening that was, shall we say, different than a lot of other elections prior to. It was also the era of the COVID-19 lockdowns. And we can talk about how there was this two-tier system when it comes to lockdowns and masking for certain people, but not other certain types of people there. Then there was the Joe Biden presidency, and they basically had someone who should have been in a nursing home as president for 4 years. They hid that from the public. We know that there were other people effectively run the country. All the while, the DOJ was prosecuting the then former president, now current president, trying to incarcerate him. So there's other events too. I'm playing very fast and loose with the history.
John,
to kind of get to home quickly.
I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you as to the ones that you mentioned. And I was, again, anybody listens to the show, I was screaming about these things. But yet at the same time, they were saying the election was false. They were saying January 6th was an inside job. That guy, Jack Posobiec, was saying that about Pizzagate and QAnon. And even Charlie Kirk was saying that Israel was in on October 7th. And all these conspiracies, and it infuriated me. And I saw the right, and I was disgusted with the people who I generally agree with on policy, right? To me, they were no better than the left, except that the people who agreed with their outcomes looked the other way for their conspiracies, and the people who agree with their outcomes looked the other way for their conspiracies. And now we are 8 years into it, and nobody even understands anymore. Do you remember, and I'll speak, 15, 20 years ago, there was a story where the Saudi Arabian newspaper printed the blood libel about blood with matzah. And the State Department got involved, and the Saudi Arabians had to retract and fire some reporters in Saudi Arabia. So sensitive were we to these kind of outrageous conspiracies. Now, where was the right when Tucker Carlson was talking about little green men and supernatural beings and studying alien cadavers? This has been just piling up and piling up and piling up. Then finally, Candace Owens says something which is not different than any of the rest. Nothing different about what she's saying, except that it hits your nerve and my nerve. And all of a sudden, now we're screaming bloody murder. Why are we not to blame for this? Why didn't we keep it sanitary 10 years ago?
Well, I agree that there are a lot of people who have been engaged in a deliberate brain rot operation, which is what I call it. There are a lot of people who.
But you're associated with some of those people, right?
I don't play the association game. If you want to personally accuse me of fanning the flames,
I mean that you
fine.
ran some of their columns in Newsweek. You held your fire on them. I didn't mean to put you on the spot here, but I was surprised by your answer, and that's why we went this way. These people were in your circle, and as long as they were directionally pointed in the same direction as you tolerated them. You didn't do a Ben Shapiro on them.
You're playing extremely fast and loose.
Well,
with the narrative here.
You
don't know me for a hole in the wall.
You tell me. Answer.
Okay. I didn't even vote for Donald Trump in 2016. I have never, ever been afraid to take on my own side. You mentioned Ben Shapiro. I've known Ben Shapiro for over a decade. I worked for the Daily Wire. Ben and I are still close. We talk all the time, essentially every day. I am one of the loudest people, always, who has always held my own side accountable, both for cognitive errors, for conspiracy errors, and also just for policy and legal shortcomings, as I personally perceive it. I have been one of the least afraid people to take on my own side for my entire career for the very simple reason that I don't even need to be doing this for a living. I'm actually a lawyer by background. I clerked on a federal appeals court. I've published constitutional scholarship, lectured at Harvard Law School, Yale Law School. I could have easily done that. I was at a fancy law firm. When I left all that...
I don't need to do this. I sell hummus. Go ahead.
When I left all that to do what I'm currently doing, it came with a very clear personal acceptance that I'm going to do this for the right reasons. So I call balls and strikes all the time.
So tell me about tell me about Dinesh D'Souza and 2,000 Mules. Was that a crime? Tell me about election denial.
Okay. Dinesh D'Souza has done a lot for the movement, going back to his writings all the way in the early 1990s. He has done a lot, and he deserves to be heard when it comes to his theory. Now, there was subsequent litigation when it comes to 2,000 Mules, and there were subsequently errors found there. I don't speak for Dinesh D'Souza. What I know is that Dinesh D'Souza is a good human being. His wife is a wonderful person. His daughter, his son-in-law, they are a wonderful family, and they are all emphatically on the correct side of the current battle of Western civilization versus barbarism. I'm grateful to call Dinesh both a friend and a patriot, even if I don't always agree with literally every single conclusion that he may or may not have found in each and every single one of his films. So I find this attempt to derail this conversation into me hosting Dinesh on a podcast like 3.5 years ago, utterly, frankly, perplexing.
You're not being fair to me now. Bizarre. You're not being fair to me now. First of all,
I think I'm being perfectly fair, actually.
I didn't know you host some podcast, but what you could have said was, no, you're absolutely right. Dinesh D'Souza is no better than Candace Owens. He says that there's election denial. He said Obama wasn't born in America.
Because that's epic unmitigated bullshit. The notion that Dinesh is not better than Candace Owens. That is absolute flagrant flaming horseshit.
He said that the Clintons
you are utterly retarded if you think that's the case.
Okay, he said that the Clintons have a body count. He said that Unite the Right Charlottesville was a false
people
flag.
On the right? Do you know how many conservatives I've met in my lifetime who jokingly refer to the Clinton body count? I mean,
he wasn't joking.
I
looked into it. He wasn't joking.
I know people who have clerked on the United States Supreme Court who talk about the Clinton body count. There's been a thing in conservative circles for 30 years.
So let me let you off the hook. So having said that, I think that Megyn has been guilty of absolutely abdicating and abandoning what was her clear standard about right and wrong, and the reason that we all adored her. Now, Megyn and I we're not good friends by any stretch of the word, but I've socialized with her once. To tell you guys, I met her first when I was a working musician. I was playing the wedding of Julie Banderas, the Fox News personality, who I am friendly with, and that's the first time I met Megyn. She probably wouldn't remember. I was just like a guitar player. And then I met her, I think 2 other times at the Comedy Cellar. One time we spoke for a while. I introduced her to Coleman Hughes. And we've texted a few times. And it's very difficult not to be fond of her because she's an utterly charming and disarming person. You know her better than I do. And as much as I feel I have to do what I'm doing because I'm fighting both for this cause of truth that I've been fighting for before she ever stepped into this arena, number one, and for the Jewish people, absolutely, because I'm concerned about the kind of world that my children are going to live in. I don't want to get into a name-calling match with her. I want to I want to have as little personal insult as possible. While at the same time, I absolutely believe what she's doing has to be vanquished. So let's play number 2, Stephen. This is the way Megyn used to act when she came into anti-Semites and things like that. And it was like, go ahead. Want me to play it? I'll play it.
Situation until her ass is fired. It's just, there's no way MSNBC, which is in a full meltdown now about how bad their losses were, there's no way they can keep this woman. I realize they're in the same problem.
This is about Joy Reid.
That the Democrat Party is. They have a base that they need to keep. But she and her little friend Ellie Mistal are truly the most racist people on television. NBC owns MSNBC, and this organization is allowing her to spew this racist hate on their channel. These people are sick. They're sick, Emily. I look at this whole thing as like it started in the Democratic Party like a cancer, like a basal cell that maybe you could just removed and moved on without too many invasive things happening to you. And now it is a full-blown metastatic pancreatic cancer. And the Joy Reids and the Eddie Glauds, they're everywhere.
And then just put up that JPEG number 3. Her analogy is right. It starts like a cancer.
Can a basal cell turn into a metastatic pancreatic?
I don't know, Dan.
I don't think so.
It started like what happened to it, Stephen? It started like a cancer on the left, and I believe it started like a cancer on the right. This was Megyn Kelly, the old Megyn Kelly, when I think it was Chelsea Handler had said something about Farrakhan that was positive, something like that. Now Farrakhan we thought he was the worst American anti-Semite. He was nothing compared to the stuff that Candace Owens is saying. I mean, he's like a Jedi, a Padawan compared to Candace Owens. This is Jedi. So this is Megyn Kelly tweeting in 2020. This is unbelievable. And the list of celebrities who are either too stupid to know what Farrakhan has said publicly about Jews or, worse, do not care is equally stunning. And obviously you could say this is unbelievable. The list of important people who you took it down, Stephen. I was reading. We're too stupid to know what Candace Owens is saying, or worse, do not care, is equally stunning. So now, okay, that's it. So now, Josh, if you were Megyn, you're a lawyer. If you were Megyn Kelly's attorney, how would you defend her on this charge of hypocrisy? Could you do it?
No, it's not defensible. I mean, that's very good research on your part to find the Farrakhan tweet from 5 years ago. I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm good when I'm not coming after you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, I agree that Farrakhan is a paperweight compared to what, or a lightweight, I should say, compared to what Candace Owens is currently saying and whatnot there. Megyn is all the way down the rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. I mean, at this point, she is fully down the rabbit hole. She gave an interview to Vanity Fair earlier today. I was actually just reading some of it before I came on air with you, where she refers to Ben Shapiro as Israel first, as using the nomenclature of Tucker and Candace, and it's disgusting. It's absolutely appalling. And look, I don't know Megyn personally. It's actually entirely possible we've never met in person. I used to be a semi-frequent guest on her show, at least for a period of time after October 7th. I did notice that she started phasing me out a little bit, kind of the beginning of her transformation, but. Look, it turns out that Megyn Kelly is just in it for Megyn Kelly, that she is just in it for perceived clicks. But even on those own merits, she's making an outrageous calculation. Does Megyn Kelly think that her audience are a bunch of Nick Fuentes basement-dwelling groypers? No. Megyn Kelly was like the non-Sean Hannity. I mean, she was like the vaguely center-right interrogator, the one who always asked tough questions when she was on Fox News. Then she went to go to NBC, and she had a failed, very brief stint there. And she was an intellectual, ideological chameleon there, too. I saw some clip the other day. And, Megyn calls herself, she says she's really hardcore on the transgender stuff now. And, it's like, bitch, I saw this clip of you on NBC News from years ago where there are a bunch of teenagers talking about their transitioning. She's like 15 transgender teenagers in the room, and she's like applauding their courage.
Okay, that's not fair. That's not fair because she's spoken about that, and she's spoken about how she was taken with ideas that she now rejects. She laments it, and
apparently among the ideas that she rejects and changed her mind is that Jews are decent human beings.
No, that's another thing. I was saying on the trans thing, she herself has said.
I know
that she's embarrassed. She's embarrassed when she sees herself having done that. That's nothing to shame her for, is it?
Well, I mean, she's come to the correct conclusion, so congratulations on that, I guess. But people don't typically waffle and change on their entire worldview in their 50s.
Well, I don't like. I've been turned off by. I'm somewhere in the reasonable middle on the whole trans thing. Like I didn't like to see trans women, slaughtering everybody in the swimming pool, and I didn't like to see the XY boxer smash the woman in the Olympics. On the other hand, nobody's going to tell me when I see like Matt Walsh speak about the trans that there's not like an ugly hate going on there. And there's a part of me which then has a reflex to protect the trans from this force of bigotry, it's kind of like, I'm against affirmative action. But when I heard David Duke railing against affirmative action, I'm like, oh, maybe affirmative action is not so bad, because I don't want to be a part of that movement. So I could see, Charlie Kirk, I know he was your friend. He could be pretty ugly about the trans sometimes. My position is not his position, but I don't know. We're getting sidetracked on the trans. I give Megyn a pass on the trans thing. I can't give her a pass for this. There is no, people can argue about the trans. People can argue about a lot of issues. It seems to me one issue that's really been settled, it's settled as much in the realm of social science as the rules of structures and weight are settled in architecture, which is that the Jews killing Christian babies to drain their blood to make matzah every year on Passover is the most anti-Semitic thing anybody can possibly say. And the whole world, even Saudi Arabia, had moved past that. And the fact that somebody can be saying that today, and somebody like Megyn Kelly can say, oh, I didn't watch, and I don't know, maybe she's out of context, and we become closer. And then she can be so angry when anybody has the nerve to suggest any more plausible, these are more plausible theories, like a MAGA person might have killed Charlie Kirk for some reason. But then when the least plausible theory is floated, that the Mossad came out of a trap door to Israel because of, the meeting in the Hamptons, Megyn's like, I wanted her to ask those questions. This is impossible for me.
I was at that meeting, by the way. I was there in the Hamptons.
We can circle back to it. But this is impossible for me to process. And I know you agree with me, correct?
Yeah, look, I think it's the most cynical, self-serving thing in the world. But
why does she do it?
Because she thinks that's good for her career. She thinks that the momentum that I guess the younger generation or whatnot is with Tucker Candace. But she's making an utterly retarded calculation even on those own terms. I was just looking at the polling earlier today. Turning Point USA did a big poll of all the attendees there at AmFest 2025. The poll I saw showed that roughly 87% of the attendees there think that Israel is either one of many allies and or the greatest ally of the United States. The percentage of attendees so that Israel is not an ally of the United States is 13%, which, by the way, is really why you heard
that's not a very surgical question to drill down on the attitudes that we're worried about, is it?
It's a very nice proxy, and it's actually it's a very nice proxy, especially compared with the last Turning Point conference, the Student Action Summit, the one that I debated the moron Dave Smith at back in July. They did a survey of the whole crowd there, and they found that 73% of the students vaguely identified as pro-Israel. So 73% there. Now it's 87% say that it's some sort of ally. If anything, the percentages, frankly, are going in the correct direction, which is actually, by the way, exactly what Charlie Kirk repeatedly said would happen. One of the many reasons that he was strongly encouraging Israel to finish the job ASAP, as was I, many others, was that he thought that the polls would rebound to something along the lines of the historical median after the war in Gaza was over, and that it kind of seems to be exactly what's happening, actually.
All right, I want to take some calls. We've never done it before, see what happens. But before we do, somebody, one thing. Can you play number 4, Stephen? This was you when you were really revved up about Megyn. There's one thing that you say in here I want to ask you about, and then we'll go to some calls and see how that works out. Play number 4, Stephen.
Ultimately, though, as we've tragically seen, it turns out that Megyn Kelly is only in it for Megyn Kelly, that she is actually just in it for clicks, actually just in it for views. Megyn, by the way, claims that I called her an
I didn't cut those pictures in. Whoever I stole this from on Twitter did.
Semite, which I didn't, because I do not believe she is. So she's unhinged, she's lying. And this is somewhat new-ish for her. It feels like just yesterday that I was going on her show fairly regularly. Indeed, after October 7th, her team reached out. I was a semi-frequent guest. We had one amazing conversation where she had me on for an hour or more for a really deep dive on all the various elements of October 7th and the then immediate aftermath. What was the role of Iran? What was the role of Qatar, Muslim Brotherhood? What does Israel do now? What does the U.S. do now? It was a great conversation. And she came across as very genuine and caring. The fool apparently is me. because she was not genuine and caring. Because now, as she has made incredibly clear, she's on Team Tucker. She's on Team Candace. She will never, ever, by her own admission, say or do anything to distance herself from Tucker Carlson. She certainly has not done anything to distance herself from Candace Owens either. And it's even worse than that. Because I know, I will not say this individual's name, but I know from someone.
This is what I'm going to ask you about.
Who was very, very close for a long time. Someone who, for whatever it's worth, not even Jewish, who was very, very close to Megyn Kelly for a long time. Someone else who Megyn Kelly recently just blew off. She told, though, this friend of mine, before Megyn blew off that friendship, she admitted that she knows that what Candace and Tucker are saying right now about everything in general, including Charlie assassination, the Jews, that, Megyn apparently admitted that she knew was crazy and unhinged. But she simultaneously said that the reason that she would not condemn it is because she is scared of their followers. Yes, big bad Megyn Kelly is scared of Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens' followers.
Okay, Stephen.
Well, they are scary.
They are scary. That doesn't ring actually true to me. I'm a person who, I'm a boss, and almost anytime somebody quotes what I said to make a point, they never quite quote it accurately. They always lose the nuance. They just always spin it and gild the lily. And I can't imagine Megyn Kelly actually confiding to somebody that she's guilty of everything that we're accusing her of. Is that what you're saying? She actually said to somebody, yep, I know, but I'm just a coward. I'm afraid of their audiences, and that's why I do it. I'm just cynical. I can't imagine her admitting that to somebody.
Well, I don't really care what you believe, because I've seen the screenshot. I mean, I've literally seen the screenshot of a week after Charlie Kirk's assassination, so around September 17th, September 18th, where Megyn Kelly admits to let's call this person my friend, that Megyn Kelly thought that what Candace Owens was saying at that time was, quote, truly nuts.
That I believe. That much I believe. But the fact that
okay,
but it's the other part that she thinks is nuts, but that she's essentially afraid of the audiences. So that's it. Like, she's out. She's just going to let Candace say whatever she wants.
Okay.
Is that what it said?
The screenshot that I saw was not this, but the same individual who supplied me this screenshot also told me exactly that. So I could probably follow up with this individual, maybe the screenshot, maybe it was a phone call, I don't know. Yeah. But the same individual who has provided me screenshots and showed me exactly what Megyn Kelly was saying and thinking after Charlie's assassination told me exactly what I just said there on that clip, which is that she admitted to being scared of Candace and Tucker's followers. And it makes total sense, frankly, to me.
Yeah, I just feel like there's more to that conversation. I just feel like, this is not really defending Megyn. I just feel like in any conversation she's going to have with anybody, she's going to advocate in some way for her own reasons.
She's so part of the timeline here is they arrested an individual. This was kind of swept under the news. They arrested someone in October for issuing online death threats against me and a few others. Seth Dillon, the Babylon Bee, Carol Marcus, the New York Post, and Laura Loomer. And this individual who was paid his bond payment and is now out with an ankle bracelet, et cetera, et cetera. He's been charged in the state of Florida. This individual, if you look at the account that he was following on his X account there, one of the 5 or 6 accounts he was following was Candace Owens. So, okay, not hard to connect the dots there. This guy was riled up by Candace Owens there. So it makes all the sense in the world. I know this personally.
I follow Candace Owens.
Okay, but you may not one of 5 or 6 people do so. This guy was inspired by her, apparently, to issue online death threats against me and 3 others, for which he has been arrested and charged with very serious crimes. Yeah. So it's not entirely ludicrous for Megyn to think that maybe if she crosses Candace Owens, maybe she'll sick her Nazi followers on her. It's deeply cowardly, but it's logically consistent, and
I could give you what my theory has been.
Hit it.
My theory has been that Megyn feels strongly that the future of this party is with J.D. Vance, and she wants to maintain access as an insider with the Vance milieu, with the Vance clique, and there's no way to do that if she's going to turn and fire on Candace Owens.
Yeah, but what polls are these people looking at? I mean, like literally, what polls are they looking at?
Well,
I mean,
he may lose, but the polls show that he's likely to win the nomination. But whatever. Okay, so what do we got? So question. So we've never done this. You know, in the old days of talk radio, they used to hang up on callers a lot, and I used to feel bad until I realized that they have to, because otherwise the callers dominate. So what I'm going to ask for anybody who calls in is, don't be verbose. Get to the point very, very quickly. We don't want to hear you pontificating. No, Stephen, you don't need my orders. If anybody is insulting, vindictive, abusive, just cut them off.
What about
right?
the word retarded? Do we accept
Yeah.
that? Seems to be all the rage nowadays.
If anybody, I shouldn't. I was going to say, if anybody does, never mind what we spoke about before. You can wait 10 seconds and then cut them off. All right. So what do we got? A caller?
Yeah.
Okay. Give your name. What is it? Your name, where you're from, and then get to the question. Go ahead. First.
Coming in.
Oh, I knew it.
He's joining.
Oh, is this a delay?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I start introducing him, you got to let him in first. Okay. I think by 2025 we'd have instantaneous connections.
They should have like a certain amount of time.
Well,
that
as kids, by
especially with Zoom. Yeah.
As kids by 2025, we didn't imagine any of this.
Okay, we got it, Stephen?
It's still hung on joining. It might be our caller's internet connection. It looks like we got another one. We'll try.
Hello, where are you from?
Okay.
Okay, hello, where are you from?
Can we ask him to unmute?
So,
all right, we have asked our caller to unmute, but he's sheepish.
Just go to the next one. We don't have to. Do we have? Is that the only one we have?
We had two. One's stuck on joining, and one's we're still waiting for him to unmute.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Shmuel Buckman.
Shmuel Buckman. Okay, this is a Catholic apparently. So what would you like to talk about, Shmuel?
Yeah, I've been listening to you guys talk for a while, and I'm really curious why you won't let Kevin Brennan call in.
Because he's going to make a mess of things.
I mean,
you can say Baba Booey next.
You're afraid it'll make it interesting, or what?
No, I can't. Kev, I want to have an intelligent conversation, and I love Kevin. I'm actually one of the top 10 Kevin Brennan fans in the world, but he has no respect, and he's gonna turn this into a free for all. That's why I don't want to ask him in.
He'll start ranting about the Shoolies.
Yeah. Shmuley.
The Shoolies.
Shoolies?
Yeah, that's
Shoolies. Yes, Shoolies.
That's Kevin's word for Jews.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, we got another caller.
Okay, it's probably gonna be the same thing. Go ahead. Who's next?
No. Oh, he bailed.
All right. Well, you let us know if anybody.
We'll let you know when they're officially in.
If anybody calls in. All right, Josh. I want to ask you a question. I was not a huge. You and Charlie Kirk. We didn't even introduce you properly. You and Charlie Kirk were very good friends, correct?
Yeah, I don't want to exaggerate, but we became close towards the end of his life in particular. Yes.
And you regarded him as what kind of figure in the future of conservatism?
I think he was one of the absolute most important figures in the movement. I mean, we can kind of quibble as to who is the top 5, top 10, whatever, but by any decent ranking, Charlie Kirk was an indispensable figure in the contemporary and future American Writers Center.
All right. You have a call, Stephen?
Are there also comments, by the way, that people can write on the side?
There have been a lot of comments on the YouTube now. We have 260 watching. A lot of people like Spicy Gnome this morning.
Okay. We had anybody to talk to us? If anybody
we're trying to mute them all. Sorry about that ding. That just means they.
Okay. So, but maybe you can explain something to me. The one thing I could not get over. Actually, we can play it. Can you play number 5, Stephen? Can I start it? Yeah.
Instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe, right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me...
Can you start at the very beginning? Is that the very beginning, Stephen?
Israel many times, the whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still have the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe, right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Was there a stand down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate non-conspiracy question. I just want to make sure my position is clear here. But Patrick, there are other explanations. It's possible that the Netanyahu government was double-crossed by bad agents. Okay? That's dark, but it's not as dark as what we're talking about. Okay? Another aspect is that Netanyahu might have traitors in his government, like legitimate traitors that have infiltrated. I was texting with some senior people in the IDF, and they said, Charlie, can't say too much, but let's just say the same problem you have with the left in America we have here in Israel. So there's something to think about. Just something to think about, right? But there are some serious questions here, Patrick. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click.
Okay, that's good, Stephen. That's good. So this is all. That's good, Stephen. This is all basically Candace Owens level stuff, and you can actually imagine Candace Owens saying this stuff. Her pattern recognition, just asking questions. I'm not saying he did it, but come on. And the accusation is that the leader of Israel, for his own purposes, or more than just a leader, but a whole cabal, sat there and let Jews be just slaughtered for 6 hours in order to consolidate power. That's our friend?
Look, I mean, I don't think that I'm in the position here of defending every single thing that Charlie Kirk said. I mean, that's a bizarre situation to try to put me in. I don't agree necessarily with what we just heard. I definitely don't think that Bibi Netanyahu personally ordered a stand down order. Here's what I will say. And my wife was born in Israel. My in-laws are both IDF veterans. Most of her family still lives in Israel there, et cetera, et cetera. Here's what I will say. There are folks in my wife's family, some Israelis, who definitely are willing to entertain questions about the extent to which there were senior members in Shabak, in the Shin Bet, which is the internal Israeli security service, the extent to which maybe there were indeed some, call them subversive actors, who did some very shady things there. There's been a long-standing power struggle between Netanyahu and Shabak. I think that's a much more interesting question. Hopefully we'll see the light of day when it comes to the inevitable commission of inquiry that Israel will hopefully lead. That's much more interesting than Bibi himself personally calling for a stand-down order, which I certainly do not agree with.
Well, you don't agree with it, but it also, so that, as I understand it, the Charlie Kirk people, and I'm very appreciative and always have been, of the religious, the Christian Zionists that Tucker Carlson hates. But in the end, they support Israel, and I've heard Charlie Kirk say this, that for scriptural reasons, which
among other reasons.
Well, that's the question. And the scriptural reasons, they're fine as long as the person you're arguing with has the same religion. Otherwise, they're meaningless. So I much prefer people to make the moral and legal arguments for Israel, and it's interesting to me. I find it hard to understand how anybody could imagine that hundreds or thousands of Israelis would be standing down while the whole country is aware of this. And they're all keeping it a secret, right? We're 2 years into it. It was a year into it, whatever. They're all keeping it a secret. And that, to me, that betrays a certain opinion of what these people are capable of. And as I said one time earlier, there's no way Ben Shapiro would ever imagine that. Yes, who's this? Hello, Patrick. Yes.
Well, I know that name.
Hey, I was just wondering.
Is this Kevin Brennan?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air.
Who's Kevin Brennan?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Patrick. Hello.
Hey, I was calling to see if you guys like to join Super Tip.
What is that?
It's where I give you the tip of my dick.
Wait,
Nice catch, Liz.
He didn't let me answer. Okay, go back to Josh. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
In response to what exactly?
No. Continue with the. Explain to me how somebody who has a positive opinion of the Israelis could even entertain that idea, let alone say it. And he said it again later, or he stood by it, where you could imagine that they are capable of just standing by and keeping it a secret.
Okay, so something very unusual obviously happened. That shouldn't be controversial to say that. I've been to the Israel-Gaza border many times. Maybe you have too. I mean, it is an extremely secure border. It is one of the, at least it was one of the most secure borders probably in the world. I have said this publicly. One of my personal theories ever since this horrific tragedy happened, Israel is well known for having Mossad assets inside of Iran. It stands to reason that it's entirely possible that Iran could have had certain actors high up in the ranks, potentially of Shabak, the Shin Bet, the Internal Security Service, Mossad, IDF. Who knows? It's possible. In fact, many people have been arrested in Israel for doing exactly that, for spying on behalf of Iran. So these are I don't think these are frivolous questions, actually. I mean, something clearly way out of the ordinary did happen. I think the country is on pins and needles to find out exactly what happened and why. And, part of what we heard in Charlie's clip, again, I don't endorse the stand down order part, but part of it is just factually accurate. It did take Israel a very long time at first to initially respond. Now, part of that is due to the fact that this happened not just on Sabbath, on Shabbat, but also on a holiday, on Shemini Atzeret, aka Simchat Torah. So that's partially explicable for this there, but not fully there, because there were a ton of people in security services who have rabbinical dispensations, et cetera, there. So that's not a full explanation there. But there's a lot that is extremely, extremely questionable, and we don't know the answers today. And frankly, now that the war is kind of sorta winding down in Gaza, I think it's probably time that the country should start to lead a formal state commission of inquiry to try to get to some of these answers there. Again, that does not mean that we're endorsing the stand down order. And I know that people in Netanyahu's inner circle were very upset that Charlie Kirk said that. It was not a responsible thing for him to say at that time. But Charlie had an entire career's worth of track record of being an amazing friend of the Jewish people, an amazing friend of Israel there. And if that's how he feels, I don't necessarily think it's the end of the world for him to voice his opinion there. I don't particularly agree with it, though.
I know, but...
Well, no, I mean, to answer your question, how could somebody that thinks favorably of Israel also think there was a stand-down order? I mean, can he think favorably of Israel, but also think that there is a relative handful of bad actors in the government?
No. I mean, how could there?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, enough of the call.
There's bad actors in all governments. Of course, you could think that. I mean, I think there's plenty of terrible actors in the American government, the Israeli government, in all governments.
Listen,
of course, you do.
I think the whole world is infected by this conspiratorial thinking. Stephen, can we stop that dinging? Yep. Please. Unless you can screen somebody and then bring them on. No. There's everybody in Israel knew what was going on. The soldiers who would then be ordered to go out and combat this invasion would each know that there was a stand down order. Everybody would know. It's so implausible, just like Pizzagate, just like a million Epstein. Like there's an infection here. And I don't know. I didn't expect it. I know even on this Brown University thing, everybody was all in with I think you were too. Everybody's all in on the conspiracies. Everybody is just infected with conspiratorial thinking right now. And this is actually the problem. There's no way if we're going to continue to look the other way at this kind of stuff, we should just embrace the anti-Semitic results.
So no, you don't make a distinction between a conspiracy theory, which we say, well, that guy's a nut, but whatever, like the earth is flat, and a conspiracy theory that really is dangerous.
No, I don't. I mean, they're all one leads to the other. Candace Owens says Can we stop that dinging? Candace Owens says that she thinks that the Apollo moon launch is ridiculous and risible, and she makes fun of it. It's not a coincidence. The kind of vaccine denial that RFK stands for, the stuff you hear on Rogan, the stuff that Tucker says about Alex Jones being a supernatural prophet, it's everywhere you look. Dinesh D'Souza, Jack Posobiec, I mean, it's everywhere you look. And somebody has, Ben Shapiro, God bless him, I think he's a lone voice here. I bet you he agrees with me 100%. Don't you think he agrees with me?
On what? I talked to Ben a lot. On what?
Yeah, about the fact that these conspiracy theories are a dangerous heroin, and we're losing our ability to think clearly.
Yeah, and I've been saying the same thing for my entire adult lifetime. On the other hand, there are a lot of things that are casually dismissed as so-called conspiracy theories that obviously are not. I am old enough to remember when the Wuhan lab leak theory of the origin of COVID-19 was dismissed as a conspiracy theory. And people said that it came from the wet market in Wuhan, that it was transmitted from the animals, the wet market.
No.
And now the government is split at best, if not leaning towards the notion that it started at the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
That's not quite. You know what? I hear that example a lot, and I don't actually accept it. I'll tell you why. It was dismissed as a racist theory because the China virus and all that stuff, and actually
which never made any sense, by the way. I mean, it's not inherently more racist for it to start at a lab in China than a wet market. I mean, it made no sense on its face whatsoever there. But people were absolutely dismissing that as a conspiracy theory in my timeline.
Well, let me tell you why I distinguish it. It was dismissed as a racist theory, and the woman from the New York Times tweeted, "Someday everybody's going to realize how racist this was." But the reason conspiracy theories are not to be taken seriously is because if you imagine all the people who would have to be keeping it a secret, and all the things that would have to be true, they're implausible. The notion that the Chinese government might be keeping it a secret that a virus escaped from a lab is not a conspiracy theory. That's absolutely plausible and always was. There is none of the reasons that I roll my eyes at conspiracy theories are activated by the idea that the communist dictatorship of China might be keeping it a secret from us that a lab leak happened. So it's not a conspiracy theory because it's plausible. Conspiracy theories involve...
That's your subjective opinion.
Yeah, well, you can tell me where I'm wrong. And conspiracy theories involve shadowy theys and people pulling the strings, and there's always all kinds of implausible stories that go with these things.
Okay, so right now you're making a ton of subjective claims. You are kind of arrogating to yourself the unique, unquestioned, irrefutable ability to distinguish that which is plausible and that which is implausible.
Well, tell me where I'm wrong.
Okay, so a lot of folks casually dismiss a lot of things that people on the right say as being conspiratorial when it turns out that they actually are not. I remember when I was dismissed as being conspiracist, and others were, for speculating that there was coordination happening between the big tech oligarchs and the Biden White House when it came to censorship. Guess what? We were 1,000% correct. As Jack Dorsey, the Twitter files, and all sorts of logs that come up in a certain litigation that showed coordination between the Mark Zuckerberg-led team and the White House, all of that was proven to be correct. There are so many other examples to count there. I have been called a conspiracist many times for voicing things that are eminently plausible and are ultimately vindicated there. So yes, there is a skepticism when it comes to not shutting your mouth because, shut your mouth conspiracists. So this is always an ad hoc case-by-case thing, and a reasonable, rational human being can distinguish between a plausible theory, such as the Biden White House coordinating with the big tech oligarchs to censor so-called disinformation or misinformation on the one hand, versus, let's say Alex Jones, Sandy Hook shooting crisis actors on the other hand. These are not the same thing. They're just not there. How can I prove that to you? I really can't, because it calls for basic common sense, a virtue that is in shockingly short supply these days there. But just because not everything is quadruple verified by NBC News, CBS News, the BBC, Wikipedia, whatever there. Just because it doesn't have the imprimatur of legitimacy from all of the institutional gatekeepers of our collective order orthodoxy does not mean that is not a so-called conspiracy theory. There are gradations here.
So when Tucker Carlson said that I
will never defend Tucker Carlson.
Right, but when he was saying that we're studying alien cadavers for their weapon systems and that the United States is aware of satanic beings that live under the water and kill people, I didn't see anybody on the right calling for his, expulsion from the polite company of the right. There was no call for his excommunication, even though what he was saying was batshit crazy.
I don't particularly remember exactly when that happened. What I can tell you is that I've been one of the loudest voices in the entire right calling out Tucker for probably 2.5 years now.
Yeah. All right.
We have someone who's calling in who says he has some serious questions.
Okay, let him in.
Well, we'll take his word for it.
Hey, how are you guys?
Hello. How do I pronounce your name? Hamed?
Yeah, it's good enough. So I have a couple questions.
Please.
How do you want it? I guess I'll start with you, Norm. I remember 2 years ago, and I have the clip when you were discussing with Dr. Finkelstein.
I know this guy.
You said to him that Israel is not going to starve Gaza, and if they do, you'll apologize and you'll say Norman Finkelstein was right.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get an admission that Israel was in fact starving the population of Gaza? And even till today, under the agreed ceasefire, 600 trucks of aid were supposed to enter into Gaza. Less than 100 per day are entering. So no matter how you slice it, you were both wrong in the past, and till today, Israel is still starving the population of Gaza.
Well,
that is collective punishment.
Yeah, I'm going to answer you honestly. I don't think Israel intended to starve Gaza, but I will, and I did a show on this, and I will just refer you to the guy who spoke the most eloquently about it, who is Haviv Retzer Gur. There was a chapter there where they were very, very irresponsible, and I think trying to calibrate the discomfort or something with the aid, and where people were being killed, where if you watch the show, I was very, very angry about it, and then they stopped. And
I didn't hear an apology to Norman, though. That's my question.
Because there was the Israel. I don't believe, you're entitled to your belief, and you could present evidence that there was a policy where the intention was to have people starve. It's not in their interest.
Okay,
let me finish.
UNRWA had 400.
Let me finish.
Okay.
But there was good evidence that they had, calculated how many pounds had come in, and they hadn't really accounted for hoarding, and they said, well, this will put pressure on Hamas.
They did that before October 7th. Before 10/7, they were doing that already. They were counting the calories of every Gazan, and they were putting them on a starvation plus diet.
Okay, this is not relevant to the conversation with Josh.
Hold on. I'm trying to understand. Are you going to say Norman Finkelstein was right?
Sir, okay. I don't want to hang up on you. So let me just end nicely. We can continue this conversation, you and I, another time. You can email me. I don't mind. I can have a Zoom call with you.
I literally wrote an op-ed on this topic today, by the way. So
I didn't want to hang up on it.
This person should literally go to Newsweek and read my op-ed on this literal topic today about the so-called famine and the lie.
You want to answer it? Go ahead, Josh.
No, I don't. I don't particularly care to engage in, in libelous bullshit. I just wanted to say that I happened to literally write an op-ed on this exact topic today. So, this person, if he wants to get off his ass and actually learn some facts, can just go to Newsweek's op-ed section and read my article that's up there right now.
Well, what's the bullet point? I mean, even Amit Segal is his name. Even he felt Israel.
Israel. I will read you a tiny, tiny snippet of it.
Okay.
Up to October 10th, official data shows that more than 2 million metric tons of aid entered Gaza in total by land, sea, and air, all facilitated by Israel while it waged its war against the genocidal butchers of Hamas. In August, the month in which the United Nations previous report claimed famine was occurring, almost 130,000 tons of aid entered by land alone, excluding fuel, in almost 6,700 trucks, more than twice the prescribed amount outlined by the United Nations, which is 60 to 62,000 tons, as opposed to 130,000 tons that actually entered by land alone, not including sea or air. So, I mean, we actually have numbers on this. We have data on this, and it's not the guy's.
But the Free Press, not exactly a pro-Hamas rag, did an article where I believe it was a free press, described that the prices of staples were shooting through the roof, which implied real shortages. And the explanation most given was that there was extreme hoarding going on. Like if you were to count how much toilet paper was in the country during those first days of COVID, I'm sure there was plenty of toilet paper. However, we all know you couldn't get toilet paper. And if toilet paper were food, some people would have been starving. So that is a mechanism that can explain both. I don't know what's true and what's not, but I don't want to pretend that I don't understand that both could be true and just say, oh, no, everybody had food based on the tonnage, when I know we didn't have toilet paper and I know there was enough toilet paper in the country. So how do you respond to that?
I'm honestly not interested in the premise of the question enough to respond, but I'll be very honest with you.
Yeah.
I find the entire notion that a country engage in a defensive war against a genocidal jihadist invasion, the notion either legally, historically, philosophically, or morally that nation has to then be involved in giving aid at all to the country that waged this war in the first place is astoundingly naive.
Okay, but that's a changing of the subject. That's another debate, and it's an interesting debate, and it's a difficult one. But it's
not difficult at all. The United States did not have a need to provide aid to Dresden, Germany, prior to the carpet bombing in the 1940s. We didn't have a moral or legal obligation to sneak in aid to Tokyo prior to the Doolittle raid following Pearl Harbor. That's not how it works. That's literally not how it works. This is a total postmodern conception as to the moral, ethical, and legal responsibilities of nations engaged in both offensive and defensive wars. So the entire notion, frankly, is offensively stupid. And it's not and by the way, again, Israel doesn't particularly play that game. They give the aid anyway, for better or for worse. And based on the data that I've just shown elsewhere there, they have gone above and beyond there. What they definitely don't have to do, for God's sake, is to account for the fact that Hamas are not merely just a bunch of genocidal butchers, but that they're also deeply venal, corrupt, and hoarding. I mean, how astounding!
Okay,
the notion you have to account for that. Are you kidding me?
And the other, I'm not endorsing what you're saying, but it was to add to the mix. Obviously, Gaza has a border with Egypt. And for most of the war, Egypt certainly could have provided aid to their Arab brothers. But there was a period of time, 6 weeks, I don't know what it was, where even Israel had seen to it that even the Egyptian border was closed in the Philadelphia corridor. And at that point, I think it's almost a consensus opinion that the Israeli government went too far. I don't know that how many people starved, if anybody starved, because I don't know, but I'm certainly not going to say it didn't happen.
A consensus opinion where? Manhattan, where you live? I mean, that's not a consensus opinion in my circles.
Among the pro-Israeli, right-of-center journalists who normally dismiss these claims.
Okay, I'm not sure what circles you're in, but I certainly have never once held that opinion.
Okay. Well, listen. Again, it always comes down to, I just want to be factual. My own country, the United States of America, I know what you guys are thinking, Israel. My own country, the United States of America, in times of war, has made mistakes. My own country tortured people. We had Abu Ghraib. We've had all sorts of things. I think America is I think it's the best country there's ever been. I think it's a force for good in every way. But I can't just pretend that, any accusation that anybody in America did anything wrong or inhuman or brutal is false. I think that if that becomes the assumption of any accusation against Israel, no matter what, you're going to get humiliated because they're going to do something bad. They're not, angelic. They're human.
I mean, and no one denies that for a second there. There was the accidental bombing of the Catholic Church in Gaza a few months ago. There, I mean
beyond accidents. I don't just mean accidents. I mean do something intentionally bad. Well, whatever. We can.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? Listen. I know it's been a little contentious, but this is an entertainment product here. Nobody wants to hear two people agree with each other all the time. Is there anything else you want to add to the conversation? And maybe if another call, we take another call. Liz, you can give Hamed my email address, or and I don't mind Zooming with him. I don't want to Shanghai. Can you still say Shanghai? I don't want to Shanghai this conversation.
Look, I'm good. I appreciate the opportunity to chat. I totally agree with you, by the way, that no one enjoys kind of just like two dudes nodding long time. That's definitely not entertaining. There, that doesn't make for good listening or good.
Aren't some of the biggest podcasts in the world sort of that?
Well, more charismatic than people than you and me. Oh, what's the future? So we didn't talk about Ben Shapiro. He started the Civil War. What were the first shots in the Civil War?
Fort Sumter.
He fired the shots at Fort Sumter, right?
I mean,
there's no going back.
That's an epic bullshit narrative. I mean, literally during this broadcast, I actually was retweeting a Turning Point USA employee named Alex Clark, who tweeted out, "Crazy revisionist to act like Ben Shapiro is to blame for splitting the conservative movement and starting a conservative civil war when someone was legit accusing people close to Charlie of murder. Couldn't possibly have been that person. No, it must be Ben." I mean, as one of the people who was accused by said demon, Candace Owens, of having some sort of level of complicity there, I mean, this is nuts. I look, Norm, I remember after October 7th, it was December 2023. I remember it very well. This is when I first heard Tucker. I think he had Sagar and Jedi on as a guest that day. This is when I first heard Tucker Carlson say, "Ben Shapiro wants my children to go die for a foreign country." Okay, this was 2 years ago. I mean, this stuff's been going on for a very, very, very long time now. So the notion that this courageous speech that Ben just gave out in Phoenix, that this is the opening shots of a civil war, I mean, like, where the F have you people been living for the past at least 2 years? At least. You can arguably go further than that, but at least for the past 2 years there, a lot of this stuff really burst out into the open since October 7th. I mean, I could go, guest for guest when it comes to Tucker there. When Tucker had on Daryl Cooper twice there to say that, the 6 million Jews that died in World War II, that this was just because, the Nazis didn't know what to do with all the displaced persons after Operation Barbarossa on the Eastern Front into Russia. I mean, was that the start of a civil war? I mean, like the most deranged Nazi apologist revisionist history imaginable. I mean, there's a million places I could point to there, but no, the notion that Ben started this, I think is totally preposterous. I was personally very proud of Ben. I think he did a fantastic job there. And by the way, he got a lot of applause in that speech too. The notion that does Turning Point have some young people who are active who hold some unsavory views? Sure. I mean, there's a lot of young people who are trying to act in a fashion that they view as being kind of just contrary to the gatekeepers and contrary to this there. They want to kind of get under skin there. And we've seen a lot of examples of folks asking these questions at the conferences there. But when I debated Dave Smith at the Turning Point Conference in July, I got a lot of applause. And you know what? I don't think I got a single boo. Dave Smith actually got booed twice during that debate that I did with Dave Smith there. Yeah. And at this conference that just ended out in Phoenix, this new Turning Point Conference there, I didn't watch all the speeches, frankly, but Ben got about as loud of applause as I saw of anyone not named Erica Kirk at that entire conference there.
Well, I don't want to torture the Civil War analogy, but obviously there were many incidents prior to the shots at Fort Sumter where everybody kind of knew a full-out war was going to break out. I think that's what you're describing. But I think when one of the principal figures in that whole movement, your group, turns and makes a public speech naming names, calling them cowards in front of millions of people, that is the war. And somebody asked you, how is this going to manifest itself in electoral politics? Surely J.D. Vance cannot hope to win the presidency if you guys can't work out, come back together without the Candace Owens and the anti-Semites and the Nick Fuentes as part of like the tent, under that tent. It's not possible. You agree, right? Gavin Newsom is just going to wipe the floor with you.
Look, it is my opinion that if the Republican Party, if MAGA, whatever you want to call it, continues to pretend like nothing's going on here and is going to continue to welcome Nazi apologists and people like Tucker and Candace into the tent, into the coalition there, then I think the Republicans are in for a world of hurt.
Yeah.
And that is one of the many reasons that I've been sounding the alarm on this for a long time. Is not merely actually, there's a lot of reasons to be clear why I'm sounding the alarm. In fact, the fact that I'm Jewish is actually pretty low down the list. Frankly, the number one reason, Norm, that I've been so concerned with this for a long time, and I think you'll appreciate this, is because I'm an American. And America, I care about a lot. And there's not a single society in global history that has entertained this sort of conspiracism with respect to the Jews, and God forbid starts acting on that impulse at some grander scale, there's not a single example of a society that is better off because of that. So if I think that America is the greatest force for good, which I do, it sounds like you do too there, then that is a major reason to care about all this Jew hatred brain rot, as Charlie would have called it, that is currently happening out there in the world. So that is one of the reasons there. And even on self-serving terms, I think the radical left is nuts. I think the left has no chance of saving America. On the contrary, they're trying to burn it down. So the only force capable, in theory, of saving America and preserving it from one generation to the next is the right. Can the right do it? And they're playing footsie and wink, wink, nudge, nudging with people like Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens? I don't think so. So the right has to get its own house in order. I mean, the fundamental premise of what Ben said in his speech the day prior to Turning Point, he gave a speech at the Heritage Foundation that got fewer eyeballs. It was just as important a speech, frankly. What he was saying that just as a country needs to have border control, a movement has to have border control. It should be self-evident that not all views are welcome in the tent. Okay, there are some. You have every right to say what you want to. Go get a Rumble page, YouTube channel, your Instagram reel, whatever. You can try to make a living however you want to. But when it comes to defining what a political coalition is there, by definition, there are borders. Because paradoxically, when you seek to conserve everything, you're actually conserving nothing whatsoever there. So that's the current fight as I see it. I feel pretty confident that my side is the correct side. What I'm less confident about exactly is exactly how this plays out over the next 2-3 years. I have no idea, frankly, how it's going to play out. But I do see some polls, like I mentioned earlier today, about 87% of these AmFest attendees say that Israel is an ally of the United States. And I ask it again, what the heck are these people looking at there? I think it's ultimately something of a fad, and that fads ultimately do pass. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to kind of have an exact timeline here, but I feel pretty confident ultimately that Team Sandy is going to prevail here on some timeline or another.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. Since we have, I don't know, do we have any real audience listening? We could take some calls if anybody wants. I'd like to see somebody's face. Josh can go if he wants, or stay.
We'll admit a few people in, see what we can get.
Let's see what we got. Let's see if there's anybody, just for fun. Josh, you're welcome to play along, or
a lot of chat on YouTube for sure.
All right, well, tell these cowards on YouTube.
Exactly, that's what we got.
Come on, tell them. Are you guys listening? Come on, somebody click the link. Let's take a look at you. Can ask us anything. Ask Periel. Periel has a whole book out about her sex life. It's called "The Only Bush I Trust Is My Own."
Hey.
You can ask her to do a reading.
Guys, I got to bounce. But
all right,
okay,
Josh.
Okay,
thank you.
Josh Hammer, thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Nobody can get Noam's name right. Everybody thinks it's Norm.
He said Norm?
He said Norm.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people on YouTube say Norm.
We got someone.
We got somebody. Okay, I feel like fishing. Oh, no.
What's your name?
Hello. Ah.
Hi.
How you doing? Drew.
I'm all right. How you guys doing?
Okay, Drew. What happened to Drew?
He's there.
Oh, why we
We got Carmichael X.
Okay, Drew. Go ahead. Drew? Drew, you hear me?
Drew? Yeah, I can hear you.
No, go ahead. The floor is yours.
I'm just going to be a little bit delayed just because I have a little bit of a delay here. But a lot of my questions were for Josh, but
I'll channel him. Go ahead.
Give me 1 second. I got to work out my audio. All right. So I'm sorry. I'm just going to power through this.
Take the things out of your ears while you talk. It'll make it easier for you.
As far as conspiracy theories being anti-Semitic or something like that, a lot of people have conspiracy theories about, like people being pedophiles in the government, et cetera, et cetera. Why would that not be anti-American in the same way having certain, unproven conspiracy theories about, Jewish people is like anti-Semitic? I think I'm going to stop now just because I have audio problems.
Yeah, but I agree with you, Drew. You're right. They're all equally crazy, and they are anti-Semitic, and I mean they are anti-American in their way, and they represent a low opinion of what the people in power are capable of. So I agree. All right. Thanks for calling, Drew. Anybody else, Steven?
Looks like Carmichael's on.
Oh, okay. How come Carmichael kept?
I don't know, but Drew? Carmichael X.
I don't know, but the name keeps popping up.
Okay. Okay, Carmichael.
Hey, Noam.
What's up? I know why, because you let them in, but at the same time, and then if it makes some noise, the Zoom software gives them it's like I forget what it's called, the speaker's view or something. Go ahead, Carmichael.
Hey, Noam, I just wanted to say hello from Mike David.
You got your TV on in the background?
No, that's the joke. All right.
Okay.
All right. I hope
Carmichael.
we don't get a takedown. I hope that's not licensed material.
Thank you, Carmichael X.
Who's Mike David?
Does he mean Mike Davis, my old friend who sings so well?
Beautiful singer.
Yeah.
We have Brian.
Okay, Brian.
Hello?
Hello, Brian. Brian McGarrigle. What's up? Cut off Carmichael.
Noam.
Yeah, hi, Brian. Cut off Carmichael.
To the show, but I'm a big fan.
Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
Yeah, how does Shuli Edgar spend 10 years on the Howard Stern show and nobody knows who he is?
We know people who listen to Howard Stern know who he is.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Nobody knows who he is. He's completely anonymous.
We've had him on this show a couple times.
Anybody who listens to Kevin Brennan certainly knows who he is.
Hey, Donovan.
Yes, sir.
Have you called Felicia Gillespie lately?
No, we've been out of touch. Her story was mostly true, but there was some fictitious elements as well.
Is that where you good up the wall?
No, I didn't go up the wall. But thank you for your.
I heard you good up the wall.
Well, that didn't happen. But there were some elements of truth to what she said. Thank you very much, Brian.
Could you say hi to?
Okay, next. Anybody else? I love this. That's it?
The last guy's chickening out. All right, Eli.
Eli, come on, Eli. Come on with it. Hi, Eli.
I just want to say I love what you do, and I have a comment and a question.
Go ahead.
First of all, I think it's unfair that you brought Dinesh D'Souza's election denial, because if you remember when Trump won the first time, the left went nuts and drove their conspiracy theories about the Russia collusion.
Mm-hmm.
And then the country proceeded for almost 3 years, the unelected officials in the government to, investigate it. And then when Trump lost and the right was making outlandish claims, if you say so, and nobody investigated, and they were dismissed out of the bat. And so, if you go back to that, you have to remind everyone what happened when Trump elected. And my second point is that point that you started from the election denial, I think that the right became crazy from the Ukraine war. Tucker became insane with the Ukraine war, and also Candace. It all started there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with you, sort of. Russiagate always seemed to me to be ridiculous. But the thing about the election denial, I don't remember the details now about 2,000 Mules, but it was pretty shoddy stuff, and there were articles written that exposed just how cynically he had cobbled that story together. What always spoke very loudly to me about that entire chapter was that there were two people who were completely motivated to give the theory credence if there was any reason to. One was Mike Pence, who wanted another term as vice president, and the other was Bill Barr, who was the attorney general, who was a very, very straight shooter. And both of them had full access to all the information, and both of them said, there's nothing here. And to me, that was by far the most responsible indicator that there was nothing there. It's one thing if the opponents said there's nothing there, but when the guy on the ticket, the vice president, who would certainly latch at anything that had even a small chance of being true, wait, hear this out, it's possible here, he and Bill Barr both saw no thread of evidence that they were ready to pull on. That to me made it very clear that there was nothing there. And sure enough, history bore me out. But, there's so many of these conspiracy theories, and then there's Pizzagate and QAnon, and D'Souza. I have a whole list here. You can Google them. I mean, D'Souza's been involved in 10 different conspiracy theories. And to me, my point with Hammer was that the right looks the other way when the conspiracies point in a direction they're not that offended by. And this is a huge mistake. It's the same mistake Megyn Kelly is making. I don't know why I think he did see my point. You still there? Did I bore you to tears?
He left. We have.
All right.
Do we still have Natasha?
Natasha. In the middle is
Pardon me, my name's not Natasha.
Get him out of here! I was going to sing a song about Natasha.
My wife's name's appeared on the device I'm using, so apologies for that. I just called in. I'm actually from Australia. I thought I'd call in and ask, especially in the aftermath of what happened in Bondi Beach the other day, all the controversies happening on the right. I guess your discussion today was largely about the quote-unquote civil war on the American political right, and maybe on the global right. What do you think explains, one of the things that I'm most baffled by, I've watched a little bit, I'm a kind of more centrist, kind of left-leaning person. I've watched a little bit of Megyn Kelly in the last 2 or 3 years, and I developed a kind of sense of respect for her. She seemed to treat people that I respected favorably. People like, Sam Harris, when he was having issues, she would be very kind and very fair to things that happened to him, even though she didn't have the same politics.
Natasha, I'm close to telling you to get to the point. Come on.
Okay, so my point is, what do you think her motivation is to continue associating with someone like Candace Owens? Especially, I saw your recent tweet about the book that Candace Owens held up on her most recent video. It was just absolutely crazy anti-Semitic nonsense. I don't understand how anyone could possibly continue to associate with her and expect people to take her seriously. What do you think
I have an
the
answer.
origin of that?
First of all, there's a lot of things that go into it. One of the answers is a lesson that our parents teach us when we're little. Don't tell a lie, because when you tell a lie, you have to tell a bigger one and a bigger one and a bigger one. Megyn Kelly did not set out to become an apologist for Candace Owens' outlandish anti-Semitism. What she set out to do was just kind of tell a little white lie to lubricate, because she didn't want to cause trouble within that community. And then she had to kind of back into it more, and before she knew it, she stepped into quicksand, and it just brought her down and down and down. That's what I believe. What she wanted to do is not derail the right. She did not want to derail J.D. Vance, who she knows is close with Tucker Carlson, and she doesn't want to derail her own access to that. She wanted to try to finesse this situation and hope that would all work out. And to somebody like me, I knew immediately it wasn't possible. I'm sure she has no use whatsoever for the kind of Jew hatred that comes out of that side, although it is a human weakness that as she comes under fire from all the Jews, she might develop a resentment towards them. It's only human. So I don't know.
But surely she could see where this is going. Like, where could you possibly expect this to go from here? Like, if you start standing behind someone saying these sorts of things, making up, Talmudic, conspiracy theories, surely she can see where this is going. She has to stand behind this now.
I don't know. You might have heard me talk about it.
Do you know her at all? Have you ever spoken
I know
to
her a little bit. To say we're friends would be an exaggeration, but we've had, I've spent an hour with her and some text messages. But back when they first started accusing Israel, I've told the story on the podcast before, when they first started accusing Israel, when the nutty people at first accusing Israel of genocide, I was encouraging some sober left-wing writers to write about it, to refute it. And they didn't want to. They didn't want to stir up trouble. One of them actually said, I don't want to upset my readers. And then before you knew it, the genocide thing grew and grew and grew. And then these people were totally, caught out there and never to be heard from. Now, they didn't endorse the genocide charge, I don't believe, but it was the same thing. They just kind of, an excess of optimism. They thought they could get away with it without having to upset their audience and upset the apple cart. And sometimes it can't be done. Often it can't be done. That's my theory on it. I mean, what else is there? That she's some kind of closet Nazi? No, that's not.
No, I don't think that's the case either. I just wonder what the kind of psychological and
there's one other thing. There's one other
explanation might be.
There's one other element. She's spoken about it. I think it's real. I think Tucker Carlson, she took a lot of really unfair abuse at certain times when she made a remark about blackface that was misconstrued, and she made a remark about Santa Claus, which was turned against her in a very unfair way. And I think Tucker Carlson always stood by her. And I think personally she was moved by this, so she was very reluctant to come out against Tucker. But we didn't talk about it. I meant to ask this about Josh. But all these people make the mistake of mixing friendship into their profession. Friendship cannot be involved in this profession any more than it can be in the medical profession. Their oath has to be to the truth. And it can be very, very difficult. But that's what you make the big bucks for.
Yeah.
Friend or not friend.
I've even seen, I think at one of the Q&As she did at the TPUSA event, she's going after Barry as well now for
Barry Weiss.
Even interviewing Erica. Yeah. And I'm just kind of it kind of almost seems like now the dam has burst and she just feels like she can make these sorts of arguments.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to let you go.
Maybe she always harbored.
Barry Weiss, I do know. And I'm going to defend her. I can guarantee you that when the story of this 60 Minutes thing finally emerges, Barry Weiss is going to look very good. There is no way she spiked a story in order to protect Donald Trump. I can guarantee you that. I know how she speaks when no one's listening. I know where her head is at. That is completely 180 degrees the opposite of what she's in this for. She, I am sure, thought that story needed to be improved in some way. And maybe through an experience, I don't know why, they didn't manage to head it off before it was announced and the promo already released. So they have this awkward thing of spiking the story. But that story will come out, and I'm guaranteeing you that the story is going to be credible and people are going to look like idiots. Okay. I'm going to say goodbye to you, Natasha.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Some hormone treatment will work for that, some estrogen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Stephen, I'm enjoying this. How about a question for Periel? Anybody else there, Stephen?
I got a question for Ariel.
Okay.
Get the hat.
What's the question?
Do we have another caller? Matthew J.
Yeah.
Okay, come on.
Yeah. Hi. So very quickly, my opinion, then I'll ask my question really quickly, is that right-wing people, they look at one of the principles they have is, their own personal freedom. And so I think that they really glob onto these conspiracy theories because just like I have my own personal and I'm caring about myself, there's someone out there who's like opposing that. And it's this big, bad, whatever. So that's my personal theory about right-wing kind of fall into this more than left-wing. But my question is, although I think it's good to call out these people like you are, I really support the show. But what are the things that like we can do to undermine or to combat conspiracy theories instead of just like calling people out? Or is there something positive we can do? Like, what do you think about that?
Periel, you have a... Well, I don't have a good answer for you. What we can all do as individuals is fight the urge to cover for our own side. That's what I accused Hammer of doing. He knows, forgive me, Josh, but you know that Dinesh D'Souza is not a guy who plays it straight. And and what we have to, go ahead. You want to say something? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, so I guess like you're saying like the truth, being like totally honest and it won't leave room for lies. Is that because I deal a lot with conspiracy theories, with arguing with people online on Discord or in person. I really enjoy them and I really enjoy arguing against them. And one of my fears is that as people are economically doing worse and they feel like things are out of their hands, I'm seeing a lot more of this kind of enjoyment of these kinds of ideas. Like they're percolating more, flat Earth and all the Bill Gates blotting out the sun or crazy things that I sadly sometimes have to deal with.
Well,
so yeah,
okay.
I don't know.
Matthew, this is what I think it is. Maybe we have to end, but causation is elusive. So yes, it does correlate to what you're saying, but it's not the first time that people have been doing badly. What I think it really is, we spoke about it last week a little bit, is we are in a brand new world vis-a-vis free speech. The kinds of things that we're talking about prior to the most recent chapter of the internet, they would have been stopped by the sober gatekeepers that controlled all the newspapers, all the magazines, all the television networks. There would have been no way for this stuff to catch on. And what we're seeing now is that everybody can. I had 1.5 million people read a tweet that I wrote. Could you? There's no way I could have done that. And that could have been, and people who have conspiracy theories have 5, 6, 7 million people reading them. And there's just no way they would have had that access prior to the internet. And we have not caught up as a culture in terms of teaching our children and each other how to interpret what we're reading, what it means to understand sources, biases. I think we will catch up to some extent. But right now, we are very vulnerable because it's like COVID. When COVID first hit, our immune system had never reacted to it. 10 years from now, we're going to have some immune system reaction that will help us in some way, like the vaccines help us in some way, not from catching COVID, but from succumbing to it as we did earlier. So we're just going to have to wait this out. But this is a very difficult time, I think. We don't have the wisdom to combat this stuff. And I don't really think it's because people are doing badly economically. Did I put you to sleep?
He's gone.
They always hang up on me. All right. Anybody else? I thought it was a good answer. Anybody else?
Glenn?
Hey, Noam?
Yeah. Glenn.
How are you?
Periel, this is good. Periel's trying to get out of here. I'm good, Glenn.
I didn't expect that we were going to go like hours.
It's fun. Hi, Glenn.
How are you guys?
Good. What's up? There's go ahead. There's a talk radio guy in New York. You see, hang up on people if they said, "How are you?" But go ahead. His name was Bob Grant. Go ahead, Glenn.
I'm actually calling from Montreal. Just wanted to let you know that since January of last year, I'd say a lot of podcasts on the right and the left completely shifted their views on Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And I would include also Piers Morgan on that. And I do believe saying Israel, the Jews, Zionist, gets you a lot of views and clicks on YouTube, on X, and so on. And I think that's a big part of it. I know that there's going to be some new owners on TikTok very soon that are pro-Israel. Those algorithms might change. But there's no doubt, if you see Piers Morgan since October 7th, I think 85% of his shows have been about Israel, have been about American Jews like Epstein, all kinds of conspiracies, and they include Israel, Jews, Mossad, and so on. So it's I think that's the golden goose right now. That's why people are talking about it, and that's why there's a shift. I'm a little scared to be honest, about JD Vance. I do not trust him at all.
Me neither.
He's not just the whole thing with his with Tucker and Nick going after his wife, him not saying anything. It's very suspect. I know that he's trying to keep everyone together because the midterms are coming, and in 2028 he wants to be on the big ticket.
Mm-hmm.
But his silence about it is a little scary. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I agree. But I've never liked JD Vance. He's humorless. If you notice him, he's humorless, and that's a big danger sign for me. I think the most sophisticated people, the most soulful people, they are funny, like Abraham Lincoln, you know? And this guy is so rigid and he reacts so brutally to so many things. I know that's kind of like psychoanalyzing him, but I think it's a good indicator. But I could tell you many specifics as well. But what's it like in Canada?
We have more questions, if you want to take in more calls.
Okay, Glenn, I appreciate your comments. Usually I interrupt, but I found your comments to be pretty interesting. So if we do this, please call again, okay?
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, who's next?
Matthew, Jay.
Yeah, I came back. No, I thought your answer was good about conspiracy theories before. I do think that they existed before, like JFK, but I do agree that it's a different paradigm now.
Okay, Matthew, you're double dipping. You're double dipping, Matthew.
Do we have a question?
We got to go, Matthew. But I appreciate that. Next time, Matthew. Who's next?
Different question. Question.
Is there anybody else waiting? Yeah. No, you got to go, Matthew. I'm sorry.
Oh, all right, fine.
Next time, maybe, or you can just hold. If we run out, he can come last. Go ahead. Who's next?
We're waiting for Nick to join us now.
Come on, Nick. Otherwise, I'm going to talk to
Unmute Nick if you're there.
You know, it took me like 40 years to understand that Matthew had double T.
Really?
I think I thought of it Matthew, Mathew.
Haven't you ever seen it written down?
Apparently, I'm a terrible speller.
What's with this fucking cash grab?
What's up, Nick? No, it's okay. Leave him on. I can't hear him. I can't hear him.
You're on, Nick.
You're muted, Nick. Cash grab. We don't make any money here.
You're muted. Unmute.
Muted, Nick.
Unmute.
Oh, he gave me the finger.
Why do we have to talk
Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys.
What's the matter, Nick?
Fuck you guys forever.
Yeah, but what's your problem? Good guns. What's the Periel? But Nick, what's going on? Go, you could talk to me.
Nah, man, I'm out of here, bro.
But you called in. I want to talk to Nick.
I don't want to fucking talk to Nick.
I find that virility a little.
David John.
Wait a second.
David John Levy?
How psychotic is that?
Carol, you like guys like that. Come on, David John.
How's it going, Noam?
I knew it. I knew it was David John. Hi, David. How are you? This is my oldest friend in the world. He and I have known each other since we were 3 years old.
Are you going to take your shirt off and show us your muscles and start screaming, fuck you guys?
Are you going to pay me?
Oh, my God. He was David John Goldberg when I met him. Now he's David John Levy.
That's correct.
What's up, David?
I identify as David John Levy since I was 5.
You have a real question, or you just come to say hi?
Both.
Go ahead.
Mostly just an excuse because we're both in the same time zone.
I encourage everybody to follow David John Levy on Twitter because he spent his career, we're not in that much touch, but he spent his career working in China, and he defends China from a firsthand perspective that a lot of the things that we believe are true about that country are not true, and a lot
of the premises are wrong. But anyway,
and I'm going to vouch for him as a fair-minded person. So I would encourage you to follow him on Twitter. So go ahead. What's your question, David?
Yeah, and it's an honest question. It's not a statement.
Mm-hmm.
How many of these conspiracy theorists that you have problems with are not performatively religious?
Are not, wait, give me an example.
Performatively religious.
You mean like faking it?
Well, people like, I don't want to get into their heads, but obviously and outwardly religious as part of their persona. So people like Dinesh D'Souza, people like Tucker Carlson. It seems like all of these people are, I would call it, performatively religious. They love to, there's no question of how they stand on religious issues.
Well,
there's no question that one might be an agnostic, let's say.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that, and I will. But I would just say off the top of my head, first of all, I don't want to say they're performatively religious because maybe they're just actually, I don't know that they're bullshitting when they're religious. But also a lot of the the very anti-Israel conspiracy theorists like Max Blumenthal and Judge Napolitano, who were saying that, or even John Mearsheimer, who said that Trump is being blackmailed by the Israeli government and things like that. These people are not religious. But yeah, I mean, when you say that, it does. There might be something like per capita a higher rate of religious people among that group than in the general population. All right, wait, are you in New York? You're gonna come visit? All right, Periel.
I would love to.
We're gonna have to, you and I'll text
call him
you
from the car.
Yeah, I gotta take the next caller, David. I'm sorry. I
All
love
right.
you. I'm happy to see you.
Take care, guy.
Bye.
Me too.
I have a picture of us together. We're 3 years old. We went to the same nursery school together.
That's very sweet.
Yeah. Anything else?
Keanu?
Anybody else, Steven?
Keanu?
Reeves?
Yeah. Bye.
Hello.
Keanu, like Keanu Thompson. Okay, go ahead. I'm here and he's with my wife.
You guys are doing
He tried. I didn't cut that to the live. We're good.
You guys are doing a great job of vetting these fucking callers. Oh my god!
That's not going to the show. It's just to you guys. Don't worry.
Can you take that off? I'll talk to you if you take my wife off the screen there, please. All right, you got to cut him off. You got to cut him off.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on our first call in.
Is that it? Are we done? I don't have any more. Okay. All right.
Yep.
How would you rate that? How did that go on a scale from 1 to 10? Would you say Noam?
I don't know. Liz, Steven, what did you think?
I liked it. The chat was great the whole time too.
Well, we weren't privy to that.
Well, I'll get that up there for you next time. You'll see it.
Okay.
It'll stay with the video too.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I actually enjoyed taking the calls.
You didn't mind that guy who came on and was screaming, "Fuck you."
Yeah. Periel, it's an entertainment product. The only thing that you have to wonder is, will the audience think it's entertaining or not? I know you can't think that way.
No,
Are you sure you're Jewish?
It's not the only thing, though.
It is the only thing. I mean, hey, Clifton. Okay, so everybody, thank you very much. Good night.
Good night. Oh my god. That was insane. Why would you call in a show?
Wait, I don't.